นับเป็นเรื่องที่น่าตื่นเต้นมากนะครับสำหรับแวดวงอิเล็กทรอนิกส์มิวสิกในบ้านเราเมื่อคุณดวงวิทย์บุญนาคและเพื่อนๆได้ร่วมกันสร้างซูเปอร์ซัมเมอร์ซาวด์เทศกาลดนตรีอิเล็กทรอนิกส์ขึ้นมาเป็นปีแรกและได้นำหนึ่งในวงอิเล็กทรอนิกส์ที่ยิ่งใหญ่ที่สุดตลอดกาลอย่าง UNDERWORLD เข้ามาเป็นเฮดไลเนอร์ของซูเปอร์ซัมเมอร์ซาวด์อีกด้วยและทาง Very TV ก็ได้มีโอกาสสัมภาษณ์ข่าวสายนักร้องนำของ UNDERWORLD มาด้วยไปชมกันเลยครับ
Born Slippy was because one of the greatest dance anthem of all time, and was it meant to be the dance anthem? Could you tell me a little bit about the story behind, inspiration behind this song?
It's just another one of those days where I walk in the studio and Rick plays me a fantastic rhythm, and I had some words that I'd written the night before on a very, very bleak, desperate night, walking through the streets of London, where I was very, very dark and unhappy, and for some reason, as always happens, I looked through my book, and those beats seemed to match these words, and so I just
pulled it out,
came out with that, and that night he came up with these beautiful chords that top and tail it, and it was that's the kind of the simplistic story of it, but I love the way that.
Was it about cry for help?
It was a cry for help. I was killing myself, and the truth is that what often happens with Rick is he will take something of mine which has come from a very different place to his music, and he will transform it in the combination of the music and the words into something which is uplifting and positive. It's quite funny because sometimes when I'm singing our songs, I'm amused to myself that people are really happy when around our music, but I know that they've come from a very dark place.
And after that success with Born Slippy, you started from the underground, bass, and you build your way up and with your own particular way and in style. And once it's that Born Slippy was a global hit, was there any pressure of making records after that?
No, because we were with a label at that time, Junior Boys Own, who were really cool, and the thing that they would reinforce all the time was just do what you want to do, because they knew that we'd arrived at Born Slippy just doing what we wanted to do. So if we carried on doing what we wanted to do, things would work out fine, And they're right, we're still here, we're still making great music, I think. And so I'm not supposed to say that, really, am I? I'm supposed to be sort of more self-effacing than that. But I think Barbara was a great album. So they were right. No, any pressure came from the music industry, which we've not really been a part of, and that was to be some kind of stadium techno band. But with us, whenever anyone gives us a label, we always go somewhere else. So it provokes us to not do that, not write another hit.
Wow, that's great. For the past 37 years, you started in 1980, 79, right? Of course, there's so many memories, but if you would pick one moment and tell us that you find is one of the most memorable moments of UNDERWORLD, any of that you would be able to tell us today?
I think it would be that moment when we were in the rehearsal studio and we on dub no bass, and we're laughing together again after some really, really, really difficult times together, and the pair of us are enjoying being musicians together, getting off on each other's work. That's probably one of the most memorable times for me.
I really love one of your quotes that I read in the Guardian interview that you did last year.
Right.
It doesn't matter where the music comes from, it's how it connects. Could you explain to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it doesn't matter where it comes from, because clearly some of the things that I brought to UNDERWORLD have come from some very, very dark places. What happens is it's translated through Rick's vision and his production, and connects with people in a way which brings a lot of people together to celebrate, and I think that's a good thing. So this kind of large groups of people coming together are generally, can be seen as a quite a threatening thing to happen. But for us, it's always been a positive thing about celebration and sending people home maybe a little happier than they turned up. Yeah.
And this, of course, over the past 10 years, I've seen a change so much with the EDM, new electronic artists coming out. And who would you say is your favorite new generation of electronic artists that are coming along?
I can't do that because it would be isolating somebody and forgetting somebody else. It's like those thank you credits. I like the fact. It makes me laugh that dance music, which we were told in the early 90s would maybe last a couple of years, is still going on and still issues like rock music is.
Yes.
You know, like classical music is, like jazz is, and it goes on and it transcends all boundaries like it was always meant to. Dance music for me was a great place to be as an artist because it was about challenging itself and reinventing itself. And I think it's one of those genres which is always it's great at doing that, like, a bit like jazz is. And so we were talking about EDM, for example. I know a lot of people put EDM down, but one of the great things about EDM was it became so massive that it introduced millions of people to the music that had come before it. So when people got into it, they were looking to see what came before. So we've had a whole new audience come to us through EDM.
New fans and new...
Yeah, it's great.
After almost 40 years in the business, what do you listen to now?
I listen to everything. I listen to the rain in the streets. I listen to the sound of cities. I listen to everything. Music gets sent to me a lot. Sometimes I broadcast for the BBC, so I need to be listening all the time. I listen to all genres. I very, very, very rarely listen to dance music. Very rarely. I would say
find
that
inspiration other places.
Yeah, it's because we play it all the time. I'll sit there if Rick plays me something. I'll go, oh great, I'll buy that and I'll download it and I'll listen to it and I go, okay, I got it.
What about the rock band? You listen to any of them and did they impress you?
Yeah, probably. I don't listen to too much rock. Probably not. I listen to a lot of Dylan. Dylan. One electronic label I do listen to is a label called Detroit Underground. I really like what they do. They use a lot of analog and modular synths, and I do listen to them a lot. But I listen to JJK. I'll listen to Little Feat, maybe, but then again, I'll listen to bands like Efterklang, and there's no specific genre. I'll go back into listening to jazz and things from the past and things that came out yesterday. There's a lot of really interesting labels in Scandinavia, like the Leaf label, that put out the most obscure things that are just pure noise to some people, but to me, it's inspirational. Yeah.
Okay, can you tell us about your future project after this tour? What you plan to do? Any more solo project?
Wow, I have no plans. Well, I say I have no plans to do any solo projects. I do have an album coming out in July, which is the soundtrack to a play that I've co-created called Fatherland, which will be opening at the Manchester International Festival. And I've created new songs and a score with my co-writer Matthew Herbert. And then at the same time, at the Manchester International Festival, Rick and I have a large-scale performed installation piece called Manchester Street Poem, where we're telling the stories of people who are homeless. And that'll be broadcast via CCTV cameras all over the world. And I've brought the BBC into partner, and I'll be doing broadcasts every day. So if you go online and you look for something called Tokyo Street Poem, which was the first iteration of it, it will look a little bit like that, but much, much bigger. And it'll also be telling the stories of people whose stories we don't hear because they live on the streets.
As innovative and as experimental as ever. That's great to hear.
You got to keep moving forward, and also asking questions about the environment, the place that you live. What is that? Why is that? And being inquisitive leads us to discover new things that we can enable us to move on. Not just stay in one place.
Thank you so much, Cal.